Hey everyone! In this video I'll be showing you how to post and fetch data in MySQL by using Node.js Express and Postman. So I'll be showing you posting the data and as well as two types of fetching. One is fetching all the data present in a table as well as fetching data by using an ID. So let's get started. So the first thing we need to install the libraries, okay? So for this we need two libraries. One is Express and another one is MySQL. So just go to your folder path in terminal of Visual Studio Code and type npm I space express and MySQL and just hit enter. Just wait till the libraries are getting downloaded. So once the libraries are installed, just go to your folder over here and just click new file, and I will just name it as main.js. You can name whatever you want and just hit enter. And let me just now close this. So as usual we will be importing the libraries, okay? So it's going to be where express equal to require express, and let me just now copy this and paste it, and I will just change this to MySQL here as well. And next I will be like declaring my app variable, let where app equal to express. I will be also using express.json because we will be posting data in a form of JSON. So it's going to be app.use express.json. That's fine. So once you're done with importing libraries, we need to create our connection variable. All right. So just come to the next line and type const, let con be my connection variable equal to MySQL. So you need to like basically use this variable over here. Dot, you'll be having this create connection and just open a circular bracket and a curly bracket. And within this connection variable, we will be defining our host, username, password, and database name. Okay, so first one is going to be the host. So since I'm using my MySQL locally, I will be just having the host as localhost. So it's localhost, and just come to the next one, and it's going to be user. So you need to specify your username over here. So for me, by default username is root. I will just put root over here. So you need to specify your username, what you are having for you in your MySQL, okay? So for me in my MySQL workbench, I am having the username as root over here. By default, majority of you will be having the name as root, but you need to be like specify your username, okay? It's going to be unique in some cases. So just specify your username and just put a comma, and next one is going to be the password. This is also going to be like specific for particular user. So I will just enter my password, okay? So it's okay, that's fine. And next is my database name. So let me just put database, and here you need to specify only the existing database, okay? So in my case, I'm just going to use this particular database over here. I'm just going to create it after just typing it out. So I will just use this database. So now we are done with our connection variable. Now let's just try to connect it, okay? Think I made a minor mistake over here. I think this JSON should have a circular bracket as well, okay? Just add it, and it's going to be my connection variable name, which is con dot connect, and here we will be having a callback function, all right? So just put error, which basically just catches in case if there is any error, and an arrow function. So if there is any error, okay, we will be just consoling that error, all right? So it's console.log that particular error, and in case if we aren't having any error, the else block will be getting executed. So it's going to be else. We will just have a console.log as connected. That's fine, I guess. So let me just now save it. And another important thing, we need to create this particular database, all right? So let me just now go to my MySQL workbench and just create this database. Yeah, if I refresh it now, I'll be having here new DB. So now if I just go and run this particular code, so for running it, it's going to be node and your .js file, which is main in my case. So it's main.js, and just hit enter. So here you can see I'm getting connected, which means that I'm not having any error over here. So this is fine. Now let's just go and create our post function, all right? So let me just now stop it. For stopping it, it is Control plus C, all right? Yeah, it stopped now. So for creating our post function, just come down, okay? We will be using this app variable, alright? So it's going to be app dot post function, alright? Because we are going to just post data, it's not going to be get or fetch, something like that. It's going to be post, and just open circular bracket. And first thing we will need to specify the path, okay? So I will just have the path as /post. You can keep whatever you want. So this path will be used as in the URL in our Postman. It's going to be coming over here, alright? You can like use whatever name you want, and just come outside and have a callback function. So it's going to be request comma response, and a arrow function over here as well. So here I am going to pass 3 variables, okay, in Postman. So these 3 variables should be present in the column as well. So these are the variables that I am going to pass. One is ID, one is name, another one is mark. So these 3 variables should be a column in your particular table in the database, okay? So this is how it's going to be. I am going to pass ID, name, and mark. So just come inside your post function. It's going to be const name equal to request dot body dot name, and just put a semicolon. And let me just now copy this. It's going to be much more easy, and paste it twice. And then let me just put it as ID, and ID here as well, and mark, and mark here as well. So I'll be getting all this data from my Postman, alright? I will be passing this as a JSON from my Postman, and it will be then caught by these variables over here. So for this, you need to do request.body. And in case if you are passing from your parameter over here, it's going to be request.params. So in case we are just going to use request.body, okay? So this is fine. And next thing, we are just going to write a simple SQL query, okay, to post this data in our MySQL database. So it's going to be our connection variable, which is CON, this particular variable that we have used over here, okay, dot query function, query, and just open circular bracket, and inside this we are going to write our SQL query. So it's going to be insert into your table name. So I'm going to use this my table, alright? This particular table needs to be present inside your database that you have specified over here. So I am yet to create this table, okay, in my MySQL database. I will create this once I have completed typing my code. So it's going to be my table, and it's going to be values. And here is the important part, alright? You just open circular bracket, and you have to put question mark, comma, question mark, comma, question mark. So the reason why I am putting 3 question mark here is because I am passing here 3 values, and this directly corresponds to the number of columns present in my table, alright? So you need to be careful over here, and if you are having 2 values or 2 columns, you need to just put 2 question mark over here. I hope that made sense. So after writing this, just come outside of this single quote and just put a comma, and just have a square bracket, just put ID, comma, name, comma, mark. So this one is going to be in the same order how you have defined in your table, already in your table in MySQL. So if I now go to my MySQL bench, I am having like this create table, my table. I am having ID at first, ID as the first column, name as the second column, and my mark as the third column. So it needs to be in this order because it is of type int, this is of type varchar or string, this is of type int as well. So it needs to follow this particular order. So it's always better to have the same order while you are inserting in Node.js as well. So it's ID, name, and mark, and it's same here as well. You need to like specify it according to your way of doing it. So once you are done with this, we will be having here another callback function, all right? So just to catch the data and the result. So let me just put error to catch the, in case there is any error, and I'll just put a comma and result, all right? And then an arrow function as well. And just the same thing, let me just now go here and copy this. So this is how it is. In case if you aren't able to see, let me just now scroll this. Yeah, this is the thing. So I'll just paste this over here. So in case if there is any error, it will be caught and consoled over here. And in case if you aren't having any error, let me just send the response. So it's response.send. I'll be just putting posted over here. We will be getting this posted response in our Postman over here as a response, all right? So now I think we are good with our post function, all right? Now we need to just start our server. So for that, it's going to be just come outside of the post function. It's going to be app.get listen, and you need to specify your port. So I will go with 3000, or you can just specify any free port that is available. And another callback function, same thing, just a error, and I will just paste it again as well. I will just console.log on port 3000. So this is fine. I guess you need to be just careful with this particular part. I think this is where most people make the mistake. So let me just careful with it, just as the same SQL command. All right. So now let's just run and see with the help of Postman. So I'm just now saving it, and I will go to my terminal and again start the server. So this time you can see I'm getting on port 3000 connected, which means that there isn't any error. So let me just now copy this, all right, this particular variables. And now what you need to do is you need to go to Postman, and you need to change to post, all right. It will be in get or some other thing. You need to change it to post, really important thing. And you need to just copy this particular path, all right. You need to copy that path and add it after your localhost 3000 or your particular port number, all right. And this port needs to be the same over here. Okay, that's another important thing as well. So this is done. So now again just go to Postman, and you're going to body. Okay, you need to go to body option, and you need to go to raw, and you need to change the format as JSON. All right, really important thing, because we are sending the data in a form of JSON. So you need to just make sure that it is in text, it's JSON. Okay, so now just paste this. All right, and let's just convert this particular thing into JSON. So just put a curly bracket. All right, so now I am not getting any errors. So trailing comma. Okay, I can just remove this. So now it's fine. So now I'm not having any errors. So if the particular name is of string type, you need to have this within double quotes, and this is of int type, so I'm not having any double quotes over here. So this is going to be our payload, okay, for posting data. And final thing, we need to create this particular table. All right, so just go to your MySQL workbench, and I've already created the database. So I will just now use this particular database. It's going to be use this database. All right, so I will just use this. Yeah, it's fine. So now I will just go and create this particular table. Yeah, it's created, and just insert some values as well. So I will have 1 as A, and I will just have it as some 10 or something as mark, and I will just insert this as well. So this is fine, and I will just now select my table. Yeah, so only 2 rows are now present. So if I insert something, it needs to be added as a third row. Okay, so now let me just go to my code. It's running, and I will just go to my Postman, and I will just click send. So here you can see I'm getting posted, and if I just now go to my MySQL workbench, that particular table, if I just now select it again, yeah, so now here you can see I'm having 1000 ABC and 1000 as well, which is directly corresponding to this data over here. So I will just put one for all as well, and I will just send it again. And if I just now go and again select this, yeah, so this is now working perfectly fine. Come down, and here we will be specifying our get function to fetch data from our database. So it's going to be app dot get function. All right, so this app corresponds to this variable that we have mentioned over here, and we are using get function because we are just only going to fetch data from our database. So we aren't going to post anything, so it's going to be get, and here we need to specify the path. Okay, that is the path that we are going to specify in our Postman over here. So let me just have it as fetch by ID. All right, you need to have a slash over here as well, slash fetch by ID, and here we will be passing the ID in the parameter. So it's going to be slash colon ID. All right, you need to be like careful over here, and just come outside of it, just put a comma, and it's going to be the standard stuff again, request comma response, and arrow function. And now we need to extract this particular ID that we are passing as a parameter. So for that we need to have a variable. So it's going to be const, let me name it as fetch ID something, you can name whatever you want, equal to request dot params dot ID. All right, so this ID, okay, this ID name should be corresponding to the name that you are having to your column. Okay, so these both should be same, so you need to be careful over there as well. Next thing, we are just going to write a query. It's going to be like a normal SQL query. So just come to the next line and make sure to use the connection variable, which is con in my case, dot query, and inside this, within single quote, it's going to be select asterisk from my table. So here you need to specify your table name that is present in this particular database. So I am having this table which is yet to be created. I will create this table once I am done typing all the code. So your table name over here, and next you need to use the where clause. It's going to be where id equal to question mark. All right, and as I told you earlier, this id should be a column in your table. Okay, I hope that made sense. And after writing this, just come outside of this single quote, put a comma, and here you need to specify the id that we have fetched by using the parameter. So in my case, I have named it as fetch id. So I'll just type fetch id over here and just put a comma. So here we will be having a callback function again. So it's going to be error. In case of any error, it will catch that error, and it's going to be result. You can name anything you want. I will just name it as result. So this result will basically contain the data of this particular id. Okay, so let me just put an arrow function over here, and same thing, let me just now copy this. Basically it's going to be the same thing. If any error, we will console that error. All right, so instead of console.log connected, what I will do is I will send this data of that particular id, fetch id. Okay, so it's going to be response dot send. I will just do result. So we'll be getting the data of this particular id in Postman, which will be appearing over here as a response. So next thing, we have done with our get function. All right, I think now we are good. So let me just now save it. And before running the code, we need to create this particular table. All right, so I have named the table as my table. So let me just go to my MySQL workbench. I have already created the database latest, and now let me just create the table. So I am having like a simple table. It has 3 columns: id, name, and mark, of type int, varchar, and int respectively. So first, let me just use the database. So it's use latest, and next I will just select this create table command. Yeah, my table has been created. So let me just insert some values, okay, so that we can fetch data. So I'm getting it. So I will go with 2b and 50. I guess 2 values are enough, more than enough. All right, I'm just running it. So this is now fine, I guess. Yeah, so now let me just go to my code and start the server. So as you can see here, I'm getting on port 3000 and connected, so which means that there isn't any error. So now what you're doing is just copy this path that you have specified inside your get function, and we need to go to Postman, and you need to just create a workspace. So at first I think you will be getting like this, my workspace. You need to just click on this plus icon over here. You'll be getting like this. So what you're doing is, first thing, you need to go over here and type this out. Okay, it's http://localhost:3000/. So you need to just type it out and paste the path there. Okay, and after this, what you're doing is just remove this. All right, and you need to just change the operation to get. Super important thing, careful. Okay, and you need to go to body and make sure that it's none. So this is some of the standard stuff, and then we are passing some id over here. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to just go to your MySQL workbench and select the table. So I am having here only two IDs over here, which is 1 and 2. So let me go with 1 at first. So I will just put 1 over here. So this one, okay, this one will be fetched by the ID over here. So this one will be basically our fetch ID, and one will be like replaced over here. So like simple SQL stuff. All right, so it's going to be like this: select asterisk from my table where ID equal to 1. That's it, as simple as that. So now let me just run it. So I think if you run this, we need to get the value as a and 100 as a response over here. Yeah, we are having 2/ over here, so just remove 1. Okay, so now I think this path is fine. So now let me just send it. Yeah, so here you can see I am getting all the values ID 1, name, mark and 100, but I'm getting only for that particular ID. All right. So now let me just change it to 2. So because we are having another ID as 2, all right. So we need to get 2B50, and let me just now send it. So here you can see I am getting 2B50 as well, only that particular ID and its details. So now this is working fine. So now let me just show you how we can access this data as a JSON. So if I just now go here, and if I just do console.log result and just have a dot, and let me just now save it and stop it, Control C to stop, and rerun it again, and again go to my Postman, and if I just now send it, we won't be getting any response over here because I haven't sent any rest.send. I'm just using console.log. So here you can see I'm getting the data as console1, but it is in the form of a raw data packet object. All right. So let's see how we can access this. So for converting this into JSON, it's like really simple. What you're doing is just have a variable. Let me name it as var value, something like that, equal to JSON, all in caps, dot parse, and within that again JSON, all in caps, dot stringify, and inside that you need to pass this variable name, which is result. All right. So let me just put result, and now if I just go and console.log the variable, that is value, so I'll be getting in JSON format, I guess. So let me just now rerun it again. So if I just go to Postman and send it, yeah, so here you can see now I'm not getting that raw data packet like thing over here. I'm just getting the direct JSON value. And in case what if we wanted to access the name and mark alone, so for that also let me show you. So for that it's going to be value of 0. Okay, basically like 0 corresponds to the first value over here. Okay, first thing, basically this JSON only, but you need to specify 0 as well. So value of 0 dot name. All right. So for mark it's going to be the same thing. You can just copy this, paste it. You can just put mark over here. That's fine. So I'm saving it and I'm stopping this, rerunning again. So let me just increase the size. Yeah. So this time I will go with 1. So we need to get A and 100 in the output basically. Now I'm sending it. So as you can see, I'm getting A and 100. So this is how like you basically access the value. So now the last thing what I will be showing is what will happen if you pass a ID that isn't present in our database itself. Let's suppose say that I pass here 100 because we are having only 1 and 2 in my table over here. So now let's also see what happens. So I will just now comment this out. All right. And I will just have a console.log as only the result, or I will just have it like this, result something, and I will just put a comma and I will do result. All right. I'm saving it and rerunning it again. And if I just now go to my Postman, and instead of 1, I am just putting 100, which isn't present in my database itself. So if I just now send it, so here you can see I'm getting the result as a empty list or array, something like that. So what we can do is we can basically have a if condition that checks the size of our list, all right, result list. Because if you try to access this empty list by using these things over here, we will be getting an error. So to avoid that, it's better to have a if condition that checks the size of our result list or array. So let us have like this. So just come inside this else block, if result, that is this variable, dot length equal to 0. What we can do is and just have a console or response, it's your choice. Let me just now do a console log ID not present, like that, and in the else block we can just have this normal stuff. All right. So I'm just uncommenting this. So it's just the same thing. I'm just having a check for result of length equal to 0, because if that particular ID is not present in our database, the result is going to be of size 0. That is, it's going to be, nothing is going to be present inside that list. So now let me just now save it and rerun it again. Yeah, I am now sending same 100. Yeah, so here you can see I'm getting ID not present. And now if I just go and send 2, because 2 is present in our database, so if I just send 2, yeah, so here you can see I am getting the value B and 50. So I'm not getting that error. So this is how basically like you can check for the ID that isn't present in your database as well. So just come to the next line. It's going to be app dot get. We'll be using the get function over here as we're going to fetch the data. So just open circular bracket, and here you will be specifying the path. Let me put a slash, and I will just name it as fetch. You can name whatever you want, and just come out of it. Another callback function. It's going to be request comma response arrow function over here, and here we need to specify the query. So for that we will be using our connection variable name. So it's con dot query. We will be having this query function, and just open circular bracket, and within this we need to specify our query. So this query that I'm going to write over here is going to be same as what we are having in our Mysql workbench. So let me just copy this as well. And you can also have this query in a variable, and then you can just assign your variable. You can like do however you want. Both are same. Since it's like a very small query, I'm directly like having it inside my query function itself. You can do like however you want. So once you're done with our query, let me just put a comma over here. It will also have a callback function. So just put function. So it will have like 3 parameters. One is error, another one is result, and another one is going to be fields. Yeah, fields I guess. Yeah, and just open curly bracket. So here we will be basically using only the error and fields. Okay, so if any error, same thing that we are just going to console.log that error, and basically all the data, that is this data from our MySQL workbench, will be present inside this result. So we can either console or like send that result as a response to our Postman. It will be appearing over here. So I will go with both the options. I will show you both. So I'll just put a else, and I'll do response dot send the result, and that's it. Now we are good with our fetch function over here. Yeah, I think now we are good. So now what we can do is we can just go and create our database and our table. Okay, this table name should be present inside this particular database. Okay, you have to be like really careful with that. So let me go to my MySQL workbench. So first let me create this database, MySQL node. This should be same. So I'm just creating this database now. Yeah, it has been created. So if I refresh it, yeah, here it is. So now let me just create a table. Before creating a table, we need to use that particular database. So just use MySQL node, and I'm having like a really simple command over here. Just creating a table with 2 columns, ID and name. Running it. Yeah, so this table name should come over here. My table, that's what I have named. My table, it should be coming over here. Be careful with the letters, okay? And next thing, let me just insert some values. So just insert it. Let me just change it to as 2B and insert it again. C as well. Yeah, we just insert it. Yeah, that's fine. So now let me just display the values. So these values should be appearing in our Postman now, that is over here. So if this works fine, that's the proof. Yeah, so now let me just go to my code and start the node server. So for starting the node server, it's like simple. Just go to a terminal, node your file .js file name. So mine is main.js. Just hit enter. So here you can see I'm getting on port 3000 as well as connected. So which means that I don't have any errors over here. Next important thing, just go to Postman, and you need to like do some changes over here. You need to just go to this particular path. So it's fetch, and you should not have any data that is being sent. And another most important thing, you need to change it over here because we are performing get operation. Here you need to change it as get as well. Super important thing, because you won't be able to find this mistake that you have done. Okay, really important to change it here as well. So now I will just go and click send. So here you can see I am getting all the data 1A, 2B, 3C, which is present in my table over here. And now let me also show you how you can like basically access this data, because I think it is now inside a object format. So in order to show you like why it is in object format, let me just now console it instead of sending it. I will comment it and I will just do console.log result. All right, stopping it, Control C to stop, restarting it again. Yeah, now if I just go to my Postman and again send it, so this time we won't be getting any value over here, and instead we will be having a value inside our console, because I'm just consoling it. I'm not sending the value. Yeah, I have commented the send, I'm just consoling it. So this is what I told you earlier. You'll be getting in a form of an object. Okay, so how to convert this to a list or a JSON format is, what you're doing is just come here. Okay, inside your console.log, it's going to be JSON all in caps dot parse open circular bracket, again that caps JSON dot stringify, and within circular bracket you need to pass result. All right, yeah, now I'm saving it, stopping it, Control C, again I'm restarting it, again sending it. Yeah, so this time you can see I'm not getting in this object format. And if you want to like access individual values, what you can do is you can like store this in a variable. So instead of directly like assigning, let me just now cut it out, and I will have a variable where r equal to, let me just assign everything. And if I just now go and put r of 0, and let me just copy this, paste it. If I do r of 1 dot name, okay, so if this works fine, we need to get this thing id name as output for this first console, and we need to get b as the output for second console. Just basic list manipulation, list accessing. Okay, that's easy, I guess. So now let me just restart it again. Okay, I need to save it, Control S, save it, and again restarting it. Yeah, sending it again. Yeah, so here you can see I'm getting the output perfectly. R of 0 corresponds to the first value present inside our list, and this, okay, this corresponds to second item, and I'm accessing the name, which is B here. So this is working perfectly, I guess, and I hope you would have found this video useful. I have also done many other programming videos in Node.js, React.js, MongoDB, as well as C, C++, Java, Python, Blender, SQL queries as well. So do check other videos of my channel, subscribe me. Thanks for watching.